I mean,
So
I personally
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
In what respect he is asking? Otherwise, Metalliferous Mining Regulation Act is there, which covers both safety, open cast mines as well as underground mines. So I think regulations and policies are already in place, and I don't think any further policy or decision is required in this regard. If we can follow our existing guidelines and existing policy, that is more than enough. Only thing is that some relaxation is required.
Absolutely, absolutely. You need to make regulatory systems simpler. You need to make regulatory systems simpler rather than making it more complex, and because then then there could be, there's no end to it all. We can categorize mining into probably 100 different categories. It doesn't. Yeah. So I would not think of different regulatory system. We already have difference between a coal and the non-coal sector. I mean, probably even to me that is probably not required. But coal folks feel that there are some special safety considerations there, the kind of combustibility, etc., which is there in coal, the kind of risks which they face. But anyways, I think all the metal sector is completely covered with the current regulatory system. See, the new regulatory system, in fact, says that you have to do your own risk analysis. I mean, that one thing is more than enough, where it says you do your own risk analysis, create your own systems, create your standards, and implement it. That's an international system. You don't have a prescriptive system that you have to do this, and do the checkbox checking. So yeah, so I think it's good enough at this stage.
Yeah,
we have one question. Yes, Vinod, sir, please.
There is some kind of incentive for this narrow vein and maybe marginal deposits, so that people get interested. So that intervention from government can further help.
Right, sir.
Like government productivity link incentives for various sectors. So for this sector, so they take up some policies like that.
So we have one question from Mr. Avani Samal. This question is for Biplop, sir. What is the deepest diamond drilling done in India for exploration? Which companies or projects are using deep exploration drilling? Biplop, sir.
Oh, Avani. Okay. I'm not terribly sure about Hindustan Zinc's record. Let me say something about what GSI has done in recent times. I think GSI for shale gas has done up to 1,600 meters, 1,700 meters or so. For coal, GSI has explored around 1,400 meters diamond core drilling. And I guess their project Uncover, which they're doing with Aussies, with Australian Geoscience, that's an experimental drilling. They have gone up to probably 700-800 meters or so. That's the kind of depth which they have gone. But I think Hindustan Zinc has gone even deeper for exploring their deposits, particularly Rampura from underground. But
yes.
will be.
Yeah, absolutely. So from underground, we have gone deeper. From surface, we have done close to 1,400 meters. And since we are working at around 700, 800 meters in underground, from there, putting a hole of 600, 700 meters makes it to plus 1.5 kilometers. So that we are doing.
Right, sir. Moving on to the next question. Just give me a moment. So there is a question for Mr. Harsh Kumar from Ravi Babel. He's asking, is there any reference of underground mining in India wherein we have extended cellular network like Airtel, BSNL, etc. in mine? Harshji.
Cellular network extended. Frankly speaking, I don't have a reference check on this specific. Most of this is through edge devices or through the fibers. But right now, that's something which I'm not aware, but I can definitely check back.
Sanjeev ji, you would like to put a light on this?
I agree with Harshji that basically it's all about this edge devices or the optical fiber cable in most of the underground or one or two of the underground mining network we are seeing out here, Cisco being the prime player for this underground mine networking. Nokia is talking about 5G cellular services, but not available in India at this point in time.
Okay. So moving on to next question. So Ravi ji, I think we still need to develop cellular connections in underground. Although I read one news that Nokia is planning to set up 3G connections on Moon very soon, which is very surprising, but they haven't thought of underground mines yet, but they're thinking about Moon. All right, so we have one question from Mr. Wayne Greenwell. He has joined from Australia. His question is, what scanners are you using for the volumetric scanning? Volumetric scanning. Maybe Sanjeev ji would like to answer this. What scanners are you using for the volumetric scanning? Anyone can answer.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Vinod.
Fero scanners are being used for scanning underground voids. And we have also tried in past to use drone in underground, although it is not yet fully established. But we are trying that. We will do basically scanning with the help of drone, and then use those wireframes to calculate the volumes of the void.
So we have another question from Mr. Abani Samal. This question is for you, Vinodji. He's asking, what is your strategy to train the employees while implementing new technology?
Yes, so we have got a very structured training mechanism especially for operators. Like we are putting them through simulators that is established at our different sites, and then when they are comfortable with the machine and the simulator, they are put in on-the-job training at the mine, and there we are making a program of 1 week, 2 week, maybe a month, depending upon the skill sets required to upgrade their skill to the level that is required for operating the machine. At the same time, for engineers, we are in collaboration with Sandvik, APRock, and other global players in digitization and advanced technology in mining, and we are basically putting them with those business partners so that they get trained and utilize the technology effectively.
We have one question from Mr. Sarat Kumar Achala. He is asking, what is the total depth of Rampura Agucha mine and what is the ore grade percentage?
So Rampura Agucha mine, the shaft itself is around 1 kilometer. So that is what the depth of the mine is as of now. We have plans to go further deeper. We are still exploring and the ore body is still open, and the total metal content is 13.5 to 14% at Rampura Agucha. Lead plus zinc.
All right. So this question next I'm taking from Mr. Manoj. Sorry, he hasn't asked any questions. So this question I'm taking from Mr. Ganesh Manekar. He's asking, is it possible to use a res borer for 1.5 m dia for inclined length of 70 meter and width of ore body maximum 6 to 7 meters? This question is again from Mr. Binod.
So what is he mentioning? Inclined raise bore or vertical?
raise, he's saying, is it possible to use raise borer or 1.5 meter dia for inclined length of 70 meter and width of the ore body maximum 6 to 7 meters?
Yes, so vertical we are doing it at our mines. Inclined with raise boring machine we have not yet done, but exploration is underway. Machines are being developed, and soon hopefully we will be doing that also. But vertically, not just 1.5, we are doing 3.5 meter dia vertical up to 400 meter depth also. We have done at Rampura, Gucha and other mines of Hindustan Zinc Limited.
Okay. So this question is from Mr. PK Singh. He's asking from Sanjeev Ji, has Industry 4.0 been used in coal mines anywhere in India or across the world?
Coal
Sanjeev
mine,
ji.
yes, coal mine, I would say it's not this level. I mean, it is very, very restricted coal level because of various restrictions also in terms of the environment that we operate in. So, but slowly there are some automatic features which are coming in. Tele-remote, radio remote control was always there, but some of the automatic features and improved version of the machines are coming in the coal mine, if I have to talk about in India. And if the question is about coal mine and other mines across the globe, so there is, I would say there are plenty of cases, not in coal mine definitely, but in other mines across the globe where the digital 4.0 is in the very advanced stages. But in India, if I restrict for most of the viewer, in the coal mine in India, it is in a very, very limited scope and stage, and where it's more about focusing on the equipment with some add-on features, considering the nature of the work therein.
Right, sir. Sir, but there are a lot of students who are also attending this event, and they have asked a common question from all the panelists. The question is, they want to know if your companies, your organizations are providing campus training programs so that they can join you. So are your companies providing campus training, as in the training and internships?
Yes, yes.
Which
So we
means
have
The answer is yes.
internships.
program.
Internship programs, yeah. Internship programs, they are asking me. So I wanted to take this up because it's very important for them. Okay, so we are
They
checking.
can reach out. Sorry, yeah, they can reach out to HR team, and they definitely
Yes.
have their projects coming in, and then the process of taking them up for the various summer or winter projects.
Right. So we are taking our next question. Before that, I'd like to raise one more poll. Audience on your screen. So this time we will ask you a question. So the question is, will the Indian miners be able to take on the cost associated with Industry 4.0? Will the Indian miners be able to take on the cost associated with Industry 4.0? Your options are yes, no, maybe. Our audience are very active right now. All right, so we have the results. Well, it's a good result. 57% feels yes. The mining companies can take up Industry 4.0 cost. 35% feels maybe, and 8% feels no. Any comment? Anyone like to make on this? I think cost is something, which every business owner think before investing. And now there is a need when India is actually haven't gone with deep-seated mining and exploration. Now the companies must consider to adopt and invest in technologies. I think the time will come when we will not have any choice, but it will become a mandatory thing that we have to do it.
Monica, the question is, the answer to this question comes from what value does it create? I mean, it's important to realize any cost which you put in, what value does it create? It cannot be just trend or fashion, isn't it? I mean, it has to be, does it create value? Yeah, go ahead, Mukesh, sir.
I was just telling the same thing, Vipulji, what Sanjeev has told. There is a myth that Industry 4.0 will bring additional cost. It is not a question of additional cost. Just see the type of benefit it is bringing. It is improving your productivity. It is improving your efficiency. It is improving your safety, and how much you are saving on that account. Ultimately, it is the overall techno-economics. And most of the case studies, if you see, wherever Industry 4.0 has been adopted, it has given the positive results only. It has not given the negative results, that it has increased your cost of production. That is based on my information. Viplubji and Vinodji can tell more this thing, but based on my information, it has not added cost, it has saved the cost. So that's why
Before Vinodji says anything, I'll probably put in another part, the cultural adaptation of it. I mean, for certainly Vedanta has shown a very superb cultural adaptation. Not many are. Mining is still being. Many of the mining is still being practiced. The management is still being practiced by traditionalists, I would say. So there probably needs a cultural adaptation as well, I would say, and which Vedanta has demonstrated very well.
Absolutely. I think it's not about cost; it's about the value that is being created by adopting this technology. And Vedanta has been one of the examples where really we have extracted value out of it. And before making any kind of such investment in technology, definitely it has to be approved through various channels where we have to show benefits. Otherwise, no one will invest in such projects.
Absolutely. Just to add here, I mean, we are seeing the world is connected. So today, the level of safety, the level of efficiency, transparency is improving. So a person sitting in other part of the world, and each entity is borderless today. So a Vedanta unit maybe, or a Sandvik unit in X part of the world will try to have a similar level of safety and practices as much as practically possible, and regulatory constraints to improve the level of safety and the technological parameters. So there are something which is also being a part of the philosophy and the statutory requirement and the compulsion of the global connectivity, which is asking every player to raise their level of investment, transparency, and safety.
I'll give you two illustrations, two more interesting illustrations, international illustrations, and really it's very, very well known to everybody. I mean, one is of course the automated, the mine automation which is going on with through Rio Tinto's Mine of the Future, where they have already done, for example, in Mount Comprise, they have, or Pilbara, they have already produced more than 1 billion tons of iron ore using completely automated systems, complete automation. The other extreme example, illustration is space mining. Look at what Elon Musk is trying to do. He is trying to send spacecrafts to do space mining from planetary bodies. I mean, what is that? Industry 4.0 or Industry 10.0? Think of it. So that is where we are getting into. And he is confident that within this decade, he will be able to start mining from space.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have one question from Ronak Purohit. He's asking, what is the most mechanized mines in India, and what is the reason that only this particular mine grows faster in mechanization or automation than other mines, and during automation, which problem is faced by the company? So which is the most mechanized mines in India we have right now when we talk about automation? Anyone can answer.
Vinodji, would you claim your mines are the most mechanized one?
Or SK maybe.
It will not be good for me to say so. Maybe other panel members can comment on this, but definitely as far as my information is concerned, I think Hindustan Zinc Limited, Rampura Agucha and SK are the most mechanized mines. In India, not just in India, but across globe, these are the two most mechanized mines.
And sir, what is the
Exactly.
problem you faced while adopting automation? Just one or two problem if you like to share with us.
The biggest challenge was skilled manpower, like operators. So what we did to expedite the skill transfer was we brought expats and we transferred the skill to the Indian persons, the locals, and now most of the expats have gone back to their home and Indians have taken over. So still some of the areas where expat operators, skilled operators are required, we are seeking help from foreigners. Otherwise, during last 7 to 8 years of underground mining journey at Hindustan Zinc Limited, broadly we have transferred those skills. We have upgraded our people to a level where they can be at par with the best operators in the world. So that was the most challenging thing to do.
So we have one question from Dr. Pramod Hanamgong. He is asking a question. Potential offshore mineral deposits are available, especially gas hydrates and sulfide mineral in NP nodules. What plans are being taken? Any idea?
Monica, just I wanted to tell the seabed nodules. Seabed nodule, this project is going on, I think, since 1990. And Hindustan Zinc Limited, RRL, Bhubaneswar, and National Oceanographic Institute, all three were involved. So these are basically cobalt, nickel, and manganese and copper nodules are there. Every technology, everything is being done. But because most of the deposits are located at a depth of around more than 3.5 kilometers. Sometimes it is 4 kilometers, sometimes 5 kilometers. Also, the depth is there. This is the International Seabed Authority has already earmarked the area also for India. And India has already mapped all those resources there. But today, time, if you see, these are not techno-economically viable because the depth is so high and the depth which it is going on. I think in time to come, when Viplubji has told, when you are having a shallow deposit or you are having a surface deposit, where is the necessity of going for a deep? But yes, exploration has been done, testing has been done, process has been developed, all those things have been done. And if and when need arises, these can be tried. That is.
So we have one question from Mr. Deepak Kumar God. He is asking why longwall mining is less practiced in India compared to other countries like China, and longwall machinery is not so advanced. Where it gives high extraction percentage than board and pillar method? Anyone can answer.
I think it is more about the adoption of technology. So China is way ahead in terms of transforming with mining and using latest technology in mining. So if we see the journey of China, 20 years back, they were far behind. Even 10 years back, a lot of safety issues were there. But right now, they are one of the best miners in the world. So it is more about adopting the latest technology and moving ahead.
I mean, Longwall, Coal India Limited has adopted Longwall. I mean, there are many, couple of mine districts where Coal India Limited has adopted Longwall very successfully. I mean, obviously they have given it to contractors like Joy Mining and others. They have not. They've tried to. I think even a Chinese technology has been adopted in one of the districts, if I'm not wrong. But it is being adopted. I mean, and look, there are challenges. I mean, the longwalls are very specific for what kind of seams seams, what kind of seam thickness, etc., what kind of roof, what kind of floor. These are very specific. The way it works. These are conditioned for. See, the technologies are all imported technologies. We don't develop the technologies ourselves in India. Once it starts developing in India, probably there will be more adaptation, I would say. But otherwise, we are developing imported technologies. Whatever is there, if it fits with the system, Coal India Limited is adopting that. I mean, they're trying to proactively. Coal India Limited, although I mean within the PSU constraints, it's really trying to do a lot of modernization, I would say.
So we are taking a last question. We are taking a last question of the day, and then I will request Dr. Mukesh to conclude the session. This question is for Mr. Harsh from Karthik Batuvar. He's asking, may we know the latest innovation of IBM in various issues of underground mining in India?
Oh, shit. So to answer
Yes.
this question, yeah, sorry, I thought I lost connection. To answer in specific what we have done for underground mining in across the globe, yes, and our products are actually used. We are working not directly with the operators. Right now, we are working more with the maker of things, as I talked about a concept. One of our offerings is actually embedded, and Sanjeev ji can talk about it. It's actually embedded as part of the global offering which Sandvik takes across the globe. So that's embedded. So every time Sandvik equipment gets used, indirectly, it's getting supported, or work or the technology is actually embedded in that. Sanjeev ji, if you can elaborate on.
Yeah,
Optimine, I
so
was
just
referring to
as exactly. So what to touch about, we referred in our call as well that we are using the partnership with IBM for the analytics platform, which is being used for the predictive maintenance and machine learning, I would say, wherein the predictive is playing a bigger role, making more machine learning and AI based sort of a technology, which is will also evolve over a period of time, because it's a something new which Indian mining industry is seeing today. And as and when the model becomes retrained and the configuration starts, more components get added, it becomes a more, I would say, holistic offering over a period of time. Yeah.
Thank you so much, panelists. I request Dr. Mukesh to please conclude the session, sir.
Thank you, Monica. First of all, I would like to express sincere thanks to Mr. Biplab Chatterjee, who has given a very detailed views on the exploration. And he is, I think, very right. He told me that India is having is the one country which is having the least, which has been explored least. And if although GSI and everybody is telling that there is an area of only 5,71,000 obvious geological potential area, but in his opinion, more than 60% area, around 2 million square kilometer, is obvious geological potential area. It means how much potential it is having. So what recommendation was that we should allow people to select their own area to do exploration, so that when they do, they can select any area, they can do any exploration, but they should have some right of position also after exploration, whether for mining lease and other things. And similarly, what he told me that private entrepreneurs' role has to be increased if we want to increase exploration in the country, because so much area is left out. And Viplowji, thank you very much for your valuable suggestion. And now I would like to thank Harsh Kumarji also, because he has brought fundamental of Industry 4.0. And he has told very rightly that transform enterprise, transform operations, transform products, and transform experience. These are, I think, 4 tools which are there. And if we start implementing these things, yes, every industry can get a lot of benefit out of it. This myth that Industry 4.0 is going to cost us more, I think this myth has to be removed, and that can be removed by sharing the experience of one industry or other. Today we have only Hindustan Zinc, who has gone ahead with such. If more companies like Hindustan Zinc Limited come forward, I think more and more companies will start using Industry 4.0. And he's very told that the technology can be for maker or can be for operator also. But I think it is for both. Without both has to go hand in hand only. In isolation, nobody can. So thank you, Harshji, for sharing your views on Industry 4.0. Thank you very much for showing the type of equipment, type of capability Sandvik is developing in the area of underground mining as well as open cast mining also. I think earlier, few years back, we were listening only in Australia, people are using driverless vehicles and other things, but today, at least in Hindustan Zinc also, we have shown that thing as a real happening in our country also. And yes, as I told, your Industry 4.0 improves productivity, improves your profitability, and most important thing is the safety. And that's why I think in the last few years, you have seen number of accidents which were taking place, even in Hindustan Zinc also. I was technological at sustainability. I was head of technology and innovation in Vedanta Limited for about few years. So I know, but things have improved a lot, and Industry 4.0 really has played its role. Thank you very much for sparing time and for joining this thing. In the last, I would like to thank Vinod Kumarji for sharing, because this seminar was on underground mines and starting from exploration to the closing of the mine. And backfilling of the mines will definitely be a part of the closure of this thing. Without this closing up, nobody can go this thing. And you don't need any land and everything. But I think this practice of backfilling of mines, this is not only for underground. Nowadays, the space thickness and other things are being used for even open cast also. After this failure of Rajil Dam, nobody is thinking for going for a conventional tailing dam. So either people are going for dry stacking and tailing thickness. And I think your experience in this area will be helpful for the other industry. In the last, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all the attendees who were there for the last 2 years, for the last 2 hours with us. And thank you very much, Monica, to you for organizing such a wonderful webinar. And
Mukesh Kumarji, you also deserve a lot of thanks, absolutely, from all of us. You did extremely well in coordinating it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukesh sir. With this, I would like to thank our expert panelist, Dr. Mukesh Kumar, Director, Steel Research and Technology Mission of India, Mr. Biplab Chatterjee, Director, CEO, Consulting Juwale Services, Mr. Harsh Kumar, Partner, Distribution and Industrial Sector, IBM India Private Limited, Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, Vice President, Business Line Manager, Automation and Digitalization, Sandvik Mining and Rock Technologies India Private Limited, and Mr. Vinod Kumar, SBU Director, Hindustan Zinc Vedanta, for taking out time for us, and to our lovely audience who are sitting with us from last 2 hours, and their questions have really made this session interesting. Once again, thanks to our sponsor. This webinar sponsored by Vedanta, Hindustan Zinc and NMDC Limited. It is our sponsors who are keeping us alive. It is a true and it is a fact. Viewers, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel. Do not miss to subscribe Metallogic PMS YouTube channel. With this, wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. We will meet again in January with new idea, new concept. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our panelists. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Christmas and stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you all.
Take care. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.